Now, after the Brexit and the blue light for the racists over Europe, they have now realized that they, red light or whatever, green light, I would have liked to refer to it as a red light, really, a danger. Warning. They now decide to give a meager £2.4 million, that's what the new Home Secretary says, to stem the tide of racial terrorism. What a joke.
The majority of prisoners are black, and it's used against black people. So it's a case of divide and conquer.
That's right.
So it's dividing as many as they can. Another problem, Maxie had touched on it earlier. The problem we find is that within the black community, people are afraid, they are reluctant. Some of them are even snitches. They snitch on your black community. And it's a case where it's a divide and conquer. So at the end of the day, if we're not prepared to work together to address this, it will keep going on.
Having 4 kids back home, back home in Jamaica, yes. I didn't know that I was a thalassemia trait carrier until when I was pregnant with my son here. So when they sent the letter home and I saw that word, it's the first time I was seeing that word because we're only used to sickle cell. I saw the word and I couldn't even pronounce it. And it says, who they talking about have that? I don't have that. So there was a number to call. So I called the lady and she says, can I come in? So I said, yeah. So when I went, City Hospital, she was going through the genes and where I got it from. And I couldn't even tell because my mom died when I was like 1.5 years old, so I don't know where I got it from. My dad is also got passed on, so there's no one to ask. So.
Okay, wow. So you were able to, you had speech therapy to enable you to be able to speak again. So with your leg, because I mean.
No, that took longer. I had to go to rehab for the walking, learn how to walk again. Wow. That was amazing. That's a journey. That was 6 months I was in Wolverhampton for in rehab. I was on a ward where there was people who had been in car accidents, who had like their skulls all caved in and things. And I was on a ward with people like that. Can you imagine how I felt? It's the darkest days of my life. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to go through what I've been through. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't wheel myself because with one hand, if you've got a manual wheelchair, you need to be able to use your 2 hands to actually move yourself. The nursing staff used to bring me down to have my breakfast and things in the morning to the dining area, and I used to have to sit there and wait till somebody felt sorry for me to wheel me back to my room. Those were the darkest days of my life, Marcia.
And you were there for 6 months?
I was there for 6 months.
So I don't believe it's anything just made up. Oh yeah, I feel like a man, so I'm going to go and transition.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I mean, that for a lot of people, it's like, hold on, what's going on here? This is some psychological problem. This is not a physical thing. This is not something that nature intended. So that's what people will be saying. How are you dealing with this?
To be honest, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and I already made my choice. I knew exactly how I felt along my journey, and I can't really dictate anybody else's journey. So if anything, I don't hear it. I don't listen.
Okay.
I don't listen.
So actually, people's opinions.
Yeah, it just goes over my head.
Okay, because you're confident and sure.
I'm very sure
about the decision that you made. You know where you were before.
Definitely.
And you know where you are now.
Definitely.
And how peaceful you're feeling now.
Yeah. It's hard for people to understand sometimes, which I understand as to why they give such negative opinions. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you haven't walked 10 miles in my shoes, you really can't tell me how I have felt in my entire life living as who I was assigned.
So I decided to have fertility testing, so we had a year of fertility testing, which actually isn't a pleasant experience either. Again, it caused more anxieties, more arguing. You want to know what's going on and you want to know why this isn't happening. And I remember in October 2014, at the end of my testing, that I sat in this consultant's office and he just basically said to me, well, you have what we called as unexplained infertility. And I just looked at him.
There's no reason?
No reason. They could not pin it on anything. You know, you should get pregnant, you're healthy, nothing wrong with your husband.
Wow.
You know, we can't see anything wrong, so just go away and keep trying. Which, my heart sank. And I knew in my heart it wouldn't happen, but I just couldn't comprehend exactly what he's telling me. And I just remember walking out of that office and going home and just breaking down and crying.
If I was born into a rich family, I wouldn't have the, in a way it's a negative and a positive, I wouldn't have had to fight and work so hard and do some of the things I've had to do in order to, say, put myself where I am today. Now, I'm not rich at all, I'm not trying to say that, however, poverty breeds such bad things and it puts people in such bad situations and it makes people do things that they wouldn't have done if I had gone to school in Cambridge. So I just want to be able to, my boys leave at school at 16 with all their A's. I've been able to buy them a car, put them through, just be able to financially provide for them, but they don't have to go and do anything I've had to do.
Does your writing help you?
It does immensely. Initially for me the writing process was obviously for healing purposes, so my marriage, my personal life, things like that, personal things, and then in Choices and Destiny was moving away to say I've healed, I've spoken about my family, my friends, I'm in a good place where I can now pass on, you know, that self-help to somebody else, because you can't help somebody else unless you sort it out. So you need to start from yourself. So for me, when I started the 3 books, it was actually healing from a very short-lived marriage. Mind you, being a person of faith, you don't expect to divorce after 2 years. Very short and sort of questioning where I've gone wrong and what I did wrong and things like that. And once you discover actually it's just, I wouldn't take any less than I'm worth really. And that's Christian-wise as well, because we are a royal priesthood, and you shouldn't accept when somebody treats you in another way that's not in the way that you've been taught.
I feel like you're just giving me that last night with my son. Just me and my son. Yeah. And the following morning.
Like that first day.
Yeah, that first day I was robbed.
Yeah.
And then it's like this last day, it's just for me and my son. Even though I said that, I was still in denial because Ricky was my best friend since I was 17 years old. He's been through thick and he's always stood by my side. Always stood by my side. It was despite some of the things that he's been through in life, and his father aided, which was very, it was a good role model to his children and his nephews. And his nephews, he was known as Daddy Ricky.
Wow.
He was their father as far as we're concerned. It was the apple of everybody's eye. You know.
As you do sometimes in those situations, you're finding your feet and all of that. And I wasn't pushing myself forward enough. And it was one of the guys around the table who said to me, Sharon, you've got the balls. They're just sitting on your chest.
So were you offended when you said that?
No, I wasn't offended at all. I was a bit shocked. And being the only woman in that environment, it was like, you know, is that PC? Can you really say that?
Yeah.
But then I began to embrace it. And take it as a statement for myself to say, you know, I can be in this environment, I can do whatever a man does, because they tend to do it just, you know, as a right, as a birthright, whatever it is they want to do. And so I started to embrace that attitude as well.
That was evident with my situation, because some people, they do have not just breast cancer, but other cancers, and they go through their treatment quite well. They are at work, they're still functioning. Yeah, I didn't have that luxury. It was absolutely horrendous, and I can't put it any other way than that. It's as bad as they say it can be. But in that season of it being very bad, one of the things, it was actually one of my consultants said to me, you know, Clancy, this too will pass. And it's something that I have adopted ever since then.
That's marvellous.
So that we don't get caught up in any one place or any one sense of utopia. No, when everything's going well, we think it's going to be like that all of the time, and then as it starts to dwindle away or circumstances happens and the environment and your situation changes, that's how we end up taking those massive nosedives, and that's where the mental health starts to get affected. But if we have a sense of actually this too will pass, not in a negative way, so that we can stay in that place, learn what we've got to learn in that particular place, and then be able to have enough strength and reserve in order for us to be able to move on.
Your father was, I mean, it was a real violent scene, wasn't it?
He was tortured to death. He had 16 wounds. They chopped off part of his head with a machete, bit off his ear, stabbed in front and back, and he didn't even die from the wounds. He died from bleeding out.
Oh my gosh. Now, Zoe, you were pregnant at the time?
Yes, I was.
And what did you have to do?
I had to go over there to Jamaica and literally turn an investigator. The police handed the house back to me the exact same state it was the crime happened.
Did you actually tell us?
I turned up and I started taking pictures of the crime scene, taking all the footprints, going for the blood, bagging the blood up, because I knew full well that just in case it hadn't been done properly, thank goodness I did it.
I just didn't want to take the risk because I'm a daddy's girl as well. I love my dad, I didn't want to lose that affection. So I used to just go and sit in the park while the others went to summer club.
Wow.
And I carried it until I was 18 years old before I revealed it.
Wow. Yeah. So this happened to you, this assault happened. A police car came past, so that frightened him.
Yeah, and I ran.
And you ran.
I took the opportunity to run, yeah.
But then thereafter, you carried the guilt.
I carried the guilt, but also had to live with him constantly threatening me if I said anything.
Right.
So,
what's the age of this person?
He was at the time 18.
Right.
So a few years older than me.
An adult, a man.
Yeah, an adult.
Yeah.
It was only years later that I realised that he was actually a family relative.
He actually was
a
relative?
Yeah, he's a cousin of my dad. And the ironic thing was my dad saved up and brought him over from Jamaica. Gave him a home and whatnot. But as a small child, we grew up loving him and calling him uncle. And, you know, and it started when I was 3. But my circumstances included domestic violence as well between my parents. And again, with the threats from the abuser, I didn't feel that I had anywhere to turn to or anybody to turn to say this is what's happening.
So your abuser was threatening you so
that
you didn't say anything?
He was basically taking advantage of the domestic situation.
Right.
You know, and certainly like, if I told like anybody, he would like make it worse for my mum and dad.
Oh dear.
And that he would do what he was doing to me, he would do to my siblings. And even to this day, that is the thing that always gets me. So, you know, so I was silenced for so many years. You know, because you sort of internalise those threats.
Yeah, and you feel responsible.
You do. You feel because even like after he died, I still felt threatened by him. It sounds illogical. But I think when you've lived through the abuse, the effects for so long, and again you take on the burden of the shame and the guilt when it's really not our responsibility, you know.
For you to say I'm beautiful, you'd have to be confident, and that's what I do. I bring beauty, and when you bring beauty to the women, it brings out the confidence in them. So, and that's what I do. I bring beauty and confidence to you.
So this set that we've created especially for you, so I've spent the time and sat down and worked with you to find out what it is you want to create, what do you want to convey in your message, and what is On the Couch all about. and then we've created an environment, a visual reference of all of the things that we've talked about to help your customers understand you. So really that's the essence of what we do, and we do that for homes, we do that for businesses, and we do that for events.
So I'm like you, I'm proud of both sides, but I am predominantly more black in my ways. Talking at home, Dave will speak power. Just I get an understanding of it, and then sometimes.
How did you meet me?
That's from the radio. Listen.
And what radio?
I only listen.
You want to say what radio, but you
I only listen to black radio stations.
Exactly.
I have to. My music choice. I haven't got a wide selection, but if I'm really feeling black, you know by from what I'm listening to.
Okay.
If I'm, it's reggae, it's lovers, it's R&B, and it is a case of it moves you.
Okay.
I think that's probably fundamentally the difference between someone who's
you love black music.
You can't. It's just there, isn't it? It's something that's part of you. Music is part of you.
Yeah.
It's like doesn't matter where you are. Me and my little boy, he's nearly 3. Music's on, and he's there, and he's he couldn't walk, and he was dancing. So it's part of an indelible part of you. So yeah, I'm black.
There you go.